So far, just to understand the whole game and the process, every time you click on a button, the button function, the button click function is going to be clicked. So the game is going to be designed in this way. Let's say if this is the main grid about the whole gameplay, you have 9 buttons. All the 9 buttons are basically in a grid of 3 by 3. And each button is going to be connected with an ID. So this is ID 1, ID 2, until you reach ID 9. Cool. So every time you're going to click on the button, this function triggers and the ID is taken from the what button is being clicked. Sounds good, Ganesher?
Yeah.
The next thing is, once we know who's clicking, the player, whoever the player clicks, they will replace the empty buttons with their own symbol. So if it is player 1, it's going to be X. If it is player 2, it's going to be O. Cool. We're going to write the function for that. Then, how do we find winners? Winners will be found, I'll explain in the upcoming steps, but it's going to be a combination of things. So we're going to come down. These are the variables which we have created earlier. I'm just going to come down and just make a couple of changes to it. So if it is player 1, so if your active player, if your current player, if your active player is 1, which is the X player, so it's equals to 1, then I'm going to say label 3, which says player 110 now. We're just going to destroy it. And we would say set layout. This is another function which we're going to create below. It's going to take the ID of the button which you have clicked, replace that emptiness with X, and let's change the color. So let's say I'm going to use cyan light blue. Cool. Then the list we have for the player 1, we're going to append the choices the player 1 has made. So that ID of the button would be added. Again, we're going to create label 4, which we have created above. We're just going to take a look over here. There is label 4 created. We just need to put it down onto the screen. So label 4 is basically to tell player 2 it's their turn. Is their chance to play. So player 2 turn, player 2. And then I'm going to come down and say label 4 dot grid. It's on row, first row, column 3. That is 2. And counting. Padding X 5 pixels, padding Y 5 pixels. Sticking on this. The title also changes. It says player 2 turn now. And active player goes to the second player. Also, we're going to show a list of what's happening for the player 1. So I would just say a formatted string. Remember what the formatted string is? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this formatted string, I would say player 1 choices. And all the choices player 1 has made, which is saved in list E1, would be added here. That's it. Now, if it is player 2, you don't really need to write this whole thing down. All you can do is copy the whole thing, come down, paste it, and label 3 goes to label 4, label 4 goes to label 3. And the position for label 3 is 0 and 0. It says player 1. And player 2 choices goes here, E2. And it says player 1 turn now, and change the player back to player 1. The symbol for player 1 is gold. Color, I would say just yellow for player 2. Or actually, light blue is fine for both. P2.append the IDs, and that's it. We're still working. We haven't created this function called set layout, which is going to set the layout, but we're going to do that later. Now, the condition is because we have 9 buttons. As soon as you count, as you count 5 buttons, that means 5 turns are done. It's time to find out the winner. You don't really need to wait until all the 9 buttons are clicked. So if the count is equals to 5, that means 5 turns are done, or your count is getting bigger than 5, run the function called check winner. And that's going to be a combination to find who the winner is. And coming back to this function call to found set layout. This function takes the ID of the button, the player symbol for each player, and the color. So global count equals 1. Now I'm just going to explain you about what's exactly happening here. It says there is an error. Game ended. Oh, my bad. That should be defined, implemented. Global count equals 1. Oh, no, we cannot define global and the count. So I'm just going to come down and just keep it global count. Let's run it. And if you take a look right now, each player can take a turn. It says there is an error. Button click is not defined. You misspell the functions to connect. C should be not capital, depending on each button we have connected to. All right, so each time you take a turn and keep on clicking, it runs this function. Do you see? So it just added the choices. All the buttons the player one is doing, it's been added here. Interesting. To their list. Now we just need to add it as a layout. So we're going to do it right after you do this thing. It usually works in stages. First, we're going to change the color. Usually, once the winner has been defined, we're going to look for the color. So this is basically going to be a combination how to win. So we just need to look into make combinations of winner pattern. Now, as this game is kind of very simple, the whole idea of this thing is to block the other player move or find out the way. To find the winner, you just need to run through a combination. And can you guess how many combinations we can make? So let's assume if we have a grid of 3 by 3, how many winners do you think we can make up from this grid of 3 by 3? So we have column number 1, row 1, row 2, row 3, column 1, column 2, column 3. 9?
9 combinations, yeah. Right?
You're close. I'll guide you. So let's say a complete row will give you 1. Complete row 2 will give you 2. So this is going to be 2.
Oh,
3.
I forgot about crossing.
Yeah, row 2, row 3. So we got
Oh,
3
then that would
combinations
be
here.
that would be 11 combinations.
No, you're going up. You're going 2 up. I'll show you. Take a look. This is going to be column 1. So combination for column 1, 2, and 3. Like this, you got 6 combinations. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now what's more? How can you win the game again? There are 2 more ways. It's the
Crossing.
diagonal. Yeah, the passing, the diagonal one. So D1 and D2. Total of 8 combinations you can make to make the winner. There are 8 combinations in this game. A player can win in 8 different ways. So we're just going to create a function called assign color. Assign color to winner. And it's just going to take an ID. So here are the combination. ID is R1. That is row 1, combination for row 1. Then we're going to change the color for everything that's for row 1. So background for button 1 will turn to light green. Button 1, so this is row 1. So button 1, 2, and 3 would change to, again, light green. And button 3, because it's in row 1 again, the background color would change to light green. Cool. Now we need to create for all these things. So this is for the row 1 combination. Row 2 combinations would have the other lines of buttons, which is if it is combination for row 2, then 4, 5, and 6. Then if it's going to be a combination for row 3, the third row, then it's going to be 7, 8, 9. And if it's going to be combination for row column 1, then it's going to be 1, 4, and 7. If it's going to be a combination for column 2, then it's going to be 2, 5, and 8, right? And if it's going to be a combination for column 3, then it's going to be 3, 6, 9. Now, we made it for rows and column. Now, if it's a combination for diagonal one, the first diagonal, 1, 5, and 9. Diagonal 2 from the other side would be let's